All right, so have you ever thought about your kidneys as like tiny filters for your blood?
Tiny filters.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
constantly cleaning and keeping everything balanced. It's amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's what we're diving deep into today.
Okay.
We're going to explore what happens when those amazing kidneys,
Hmm.
well, they aren't working quite right.
Hmm.
And we're using this medical physiology handout from Dr. Rasha Eldeeb
Oh,
as our guide.
interesting.
And let me tell you, it gets pretty wild.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
We're talking about anemia,
Yeah.
even a condition called urine in the blood.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, it's called uremia, and it can cause a
Yeah.
whole bunch of problems all over the body.
So kidney disease, it's often
great.
it can be kind of sneaky.
Really?
Yeah, you might not notice anything's wrong until it's
Oh,
pretty advanced.
I see.
And it's not always about age either.
Okay.
Things like infections, genetics, even exposure to certain toxins can all kind of play a role.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So we're talking about uremia, which
Yeah.
basically means that
Yeah.
waste products are building up in the blood.
Right, right.
The handout mentions creatinine, urea, and BUN.
Okay.
BUN. It
And
stands for blood urea nitrogen.
Oh,
Yeah,
That-
it's like a chemical cocktail
uh-huh.
that you definitely don't want in your system.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And the effects can be pretty far-reaching.
Oh, wow.
For example, think about anemia.
Okay.
You might think, oh, that's just an iron problem.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
But healthy kidneys, they actually produce a hormone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called erythropoietin.
Okay.
And that tells your bone marrow to make red blood cells.
Interesting.
So in uremia, you're dealing with
Yeah.
not only the waste buildup,
Right.
but your body might also struggle to produce enough red blood cells.
Oh, wow.
So suddenly that fatigue you've been feeling maybe makes a lot more sense.
That's really interesting. Okay, so anemia is a big one.
Yeah.
The handout also goes into azotemia,
Uh-huh.
which, if I'm understanding this right,
Okay.
it's when those nitrogen-containing waste products build up
Right.
because the kidneys aren't filtering properly.
Exactly.
Is there a way to kind of measure how well the kidneys are filtering?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, good.
Doctors use a measure called GFR.
GFR.
Yeah, glomerular filtration rate.
Okay.
Think of it like this.
Okay.
Imagine your kidneys are a sieve, okay?
Okay.
And the GFR tells you how big the holes in that sieve are.
I see.
So if those holes are too big, things slip through that shouldn't,
Oh, no.
and you get azotemia.
That makes sense, and I'm guessing that can lead to
Yeah.
even more problems, right?
You bet.
Okay.
The handout mentions calcium and phosphate
Okay.
getting thrown out of whack.
Come here.
Normally, they're carefully balanced.
Right.
But in uremia, things go sideways.
Oh, wow.
You get low calcium, high phosphate, and even...
The blood becomes more acidic.
And what does that do to the body?
Right.
It can't be good.
You're right to be concerned.
Okay.
This combination can actually weaken your bones.
Oh, wow.
It's a condition called osteomalacia.
Okay.
It's like your body's slowly leaching the calcium from your bones.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, to try and compensate for the imbalance.
And from what I'm reading, it sounds like
Yeah.
there are multiple things that contribute to this,
Exactly.
this bone weakening.
First, there's something called secondary hyperparathyroidism.
Oh, wow.
I know it's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Basically, your parathyroid glands,
Okay.
they sense that the calcium is low.
Right.
So they kick into overdrive. They're pulling calcium from your bones
How
to
cool.
try and raise those levels.
Okay.
Second, vitamin D, which
Well-
normally helps your gut absorb calcium.
Right.
It needs to be activated by the kidneys.
Oh, okay.
And in uremia, that activation process is disrupted.
Hmm.
So you're not absorbing as much calcium from your diet either.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. So it's a double whammy for your bones?
Yeah, exactly.
This is pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And we're not even done yet.
No.
The handout also talks about hypertension, which seems to go hand in hand with kidney disease.
Unfortunately, you're right.
Oh.
Damaged kidneys can really wreak havoc
Wow.
on your blood pressure regulation.
Very-
It's all connected to this complex system
Yep.
called the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system.
It sounds intimidating.
It is a bit of a mouthful.
Can you break that down for us?
Okay, imagine your blood pressure like a garden hose.
Okay, a garden hose.
Yeah, this system controls how much water's flowing through that hose.
Okay.
Now, when your kidneys are damaged,
Yeah.
they can release too much renin,
Okay.
which is like cranking open the faucet on that hose.
Okay, so more water.
Right. And this leads to more angiotensin II,
Okay.
which is like squeezing the hose,
Oh, wow.
making that water pressure even higher.
Okay.
And then there's aldosterone,
Aldosterone.
which tells your body to hold on to salt and water.
Oh, no.
So further increasing that pressure.
So we've got a narrow hose with a lot of water,
Right.
plus extra water being added.
Yeah.
No wonder the blood pressure goes up.
Exactly. And to make matters worse,
Oh.
the inner part of the kidney, the renal medulla,
Okay.
usually helps lower blood pressure.
Oh, okay.
But in uremia, that function gets disrupted too.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's like losing another control valve on that hose.
It's amazing how interconnected everything is.
It really is.
And then there's metabolic acidosis.
Right.
Does that mean that things get dangerously acidic in the body?
That's exactly what it means.
Okay.
Our bodies naturally produce acids
Uh-huh.
as part of metabolism. Think of like sulfuric acid, for example.
Okay.
The kidneys usually filter these out.
Right.
But when they're not working, those acids build up, making the blood more acidic.
And what's the impact of this acid buildup?
Well, for one, it contributes to that bone weakening we talked about.
Right.
But it can also affect other organs and systems,
Yeah.
throwing off that delicate balance within the body.
Okay.
Plus, the kidneys normally produce ammonia, which helps neutralize those acids.
Okay.
But in uremia, that process is also disrupted.
Oh, no.
So it's like losing another line of defense against this rising acidity.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we've covered like a lot of ground already, and it's clear that uremia is, a serious condition
Yeah.
with a bunch of effects on the body.
Right.
What about potassium? I know that can be a concern when kidneys aren't
Yeah.
functioning properly.
You're right to bring that up.
Okay.
Potassium is crucial
Okay.
for things like heart function, think of it like the electrical wiring of your body.
Oh, okay.
Too much or too little, and
Yeah.
you can have, serious problems.
Oh, wow.
Luckily, the body's pretty good at regulating potassium levels,
Okay.
even with, like, some kidney damage.
Oh, so even with failing kidneys, the body can compensate for a while?
It can.
That's reassuring.
It is, but only
Right.
to a point. As renal failure progresses,
Yeah.
that delicate balance gets harder to maintain.
Right, right.
And when potassium levels get too high,
Uh.
it can lead to, like, dangerous heart rhythm abnormalities.
Okay, so that's a good reminder that even though the body's like remarkably resilient,
Yeah,
it can only handle so much.
right.
And speaking of delicate balances,
Yeah.
the handout mentions sodium as well.
Uh-huh.
We're always told to watch our salt intake, but
Right.
it sounds like things get even trickier with uremia.
Absolutely. See,
Yeah.
healthy kidneys help regulate those sodium levels,
Okay.
getting rid of any excess.
Right.
But when kidneys fail,
Yeah.
even normal amounts of sodium can lead to
Oh, wow.
fluid retention.
Mm-hmm.
You might even notice swelling, like in your legs or your face.
Okay.
It's like your body's holding onto water it can't get rid of.
So it's not just about limiting salt intake. It's about the body's ability to process it properly.
Exactly.
What about, like, other ways the body tries to compensate for failing kidney?
Remember how we talked about the kidneys concentrating urine?
Yeah.
That's a key function.
Okay.
And the handout mentions this specific measurement called fixed specific gravity of urine.
Okay, I remember that term, but I'll admit it went over my head a little bit.
Okay, sure.
Can you explain that in simpler terms?
Imagine you're making lemonade.
Okay.
You start with a pitcher of water and you add
Right.
lemon juice concentrate.
Okay.
The more concentrate you add,
Yeah.
the stronger the lemonade, right?
Right.
Your kidneys work in a similar way,
Okay.
concentrating the urine
Right.
to conserve water and get rid of waste effectively.
So the specific gravity tells us how concentrated the urine is.
Exactly. And in uremia, that specific gravity becomes fixed
Okay.
at this low value, around 1010.
Okay.
So it's like making lemonade and realizing you can only add a tiny bit of concentrate.
Right.
Your final product is going to be very weak.
Right. Very weak lemonade. Got it.
So this means the kidneys are losing their ability to concentrate urine,
Okay.
which can lead to excessive water loss
Right.
and make it harder to get rid of those waste products.
That makes a lot more sense now.
Good.
And then, of course, there's uremic coma,
Right.
which sounds incredibly serious.
It is.
Yeah.
Uremic coma is a life-threatening complication.
Oh, wow.
It can occur when those waste products build up to very high levels.
Okay.
It's like the body's systems are overwhelmed
Right.
and things start to shut down.
And this can be caused by the acidosis and the high potassium and all those other imbalances we've been talking about.
Precisely. It's a cascade of effects,
Right.
and it really highlights the importance of early detection and treatment for kidney disease.
So let's talk about treatment.
Okay.
The handout mentions dialysis, which I know is a way to kind of filter the blood artificially
Right.
when the kidneys can't do their job.
Yeah. Think of dialysis like an external kidney,
Okay.
a machine that takes over some of those filtering functions.
Right.
There are two main types:
Okay.
peritoneal dialysis,
Okay.
hemodialysis.
I've heard of those terms, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure I fully understand the difference.
So with peritoneal dialysis, you use your own body's lining,
Okay.
called the peritoneum,
Okay.
as a filter. It's like having this natural filter built right in.
Right.
A special solution is introduced into the abdominal cavity,
Okay.
and waste products from the blood pass into that solution,
Okay.
which is then drained away.
So that's pretty ingenious.
Yeah.
Using the body's own structures.
Yeah.
And what about hemodialysis?
Hemodialysis is a bit more complex.
Okay.
It involves an artificial kidney machine
Right.
that filters the blood outside of the body.
Mhm.
Blood is drawn from an artery, usually in the arm, and pumped through a series of filters.
Okay, so it's like a detour for your blood.
Yeah.
It's going through this external cleaning system
Right.
before returning to your body.
Right.
So does that mean the blood actually leaves your body during hemodialysis?
It does.
Wow.
And to prevent clotting,
Yeah.
they add heparin, a blood thinner,
Okay.
to the blood as it circulates through the machine.
It all sounds very high tech.
It is.
But how effective is dialysis? Does it truly replace kidney function?
Dialysis can be a lifeline,
Okay.
removing waste products, correcting those acid imbalances,
Right.
even helping to control blood pressure.
Okay, so it does a lot.
It does, but it's
Okay.
not a perfect solution.
So there's still limitations.
Yes.
Even with these advanced techniques.
For instance, dialysis doesn't address anemia,
Okay.
and it doesn't restore normal growth in children
Oh, wow.
with kidney disease.
Okay.
And even with hemodialysis,
Yeah.
controlling hypertension can still be a challenge.
Yeah. And I imagine there are risks
You're right.
associated with these procedures too.
There's always a risk of infection,
Right.
especially with hemodialysis,
Yeah.
where there's that direct connection to the bloodstream.
Right.
And there can be issues with bleeding,
Okay.
especially if the blood thinners aren't carefully managed.
So even with these incredible technological advancements, it seems like
Yeah.
there's still a lot we can't fully control
That's true.
when it comes to kidney disease.
And that brings us to the next big question.
Right.
What about renal transplantation?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Is that a viable option for everyone with end-stage kidney disease?
That is a question I'm sure a lot of listeners are curious about. So we'll delve into those complexities of transplantation and the future of kidney disease treatment right after this. We've talked about how dialysis is like a lifeline for people with kidney failure,
Yeah.
but it's not a perfect solution.
Right.
So where does that leave us? What about kidney transplants? Are those a realistic option for everyone?
Well, transplantation is often considered the gold standard for treating end-stage kidney disease.
Okay.
It can really improve quality of life and even offer a cure in some cases.
Wow, that's amazing.
But as you might imagine,
Yeah.
it's not without its challenges.
Right. I know finding a matching donor can be
Yeah.
incredibly difficult.
That's a major hurdle.
Yeah.
The demand for kidneys far outweighs the supply.
Right.
There are long waiting lists, and sadly,
Yeah.
many people never get the transplant that they need.
It's heartbreaking to think about.
It is.
And even when a match is found,
Yeah.
there's still the risk of rejection.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
The body's immune system is designed to attack
Got it.
anything it perceives as foreign.
Yeah.
And a transplanted kidney, even from a close relative,
Right.
can trigger that response.
So what can be done to prevent rejection?
Well, that's where immunosuppressant drugs come in.
Oh.
These medications help to suppress the immune system, making it less likely to attack the transplanted kidney.
So it kind of tricks the body into
does.
accepting it as its own.
Exactly.
But I imagine those medications
Yeah.
come with their own side effects.
They do.
Yeah.
Immunosuppressants can make people more susceptible to infections.
Right.
And there can be long-term risks as well. It's a delicate balancing act
Yeah.
trying to prevent rejection while minimizing the impact on the patient's overall health.
Right. So it's not a simple solution.
It's not.
It sounds like there's a lot to consider
Yeah,
when it comes to transplantation.
definitely.
But what about the future? Are there any promising new treatments?
There is some truly groundbreaking research happening right now.
Oh, like what?
Well, we touched on bioartificial kidneys earlier,
Right.
and this is a field that holds immense potential.
Oh, that's exciting.
You mentioned that these bioartificial kidneys would combine living cells with synthetic materials.
All right. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? Like,
Yeah.
what exactly are they trying to create?
Think of it like building a mini kidney from scratch.
Okay. A mini kidney. Wow.
They're using specialized cells that can perform some of the key
Oh.
filtration and waste removal functions.
Of a real kidney.
Right, and these cells could come from
Those-
various sources,
Okay.
including human stem cells or even genetically modified cells.
That sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
It really does.
But what about the synthetic materials? What role do they play in this bioartificial kidney?
They provide the structural support,
Oh, okay.
kind of like scaffolding for the cells to grow and function. The goal is to create a device
Yeah.
that mimics the intricate network of tiny filters found in a natural kidney.
It's amazing to think that we might one day
Right.
be able to create like a fully functional kidney
Yeah.
outside of the body.
It's an ambitious goal, but the progress being made is truly remarkable.
That's really encouraging to hear.
Imagine a world where kidney failure is no longer
Oh.
a life-altering condition.
Yeah.
People could receive a bioartificial kidney transplant
Wow.
and live normal, healthy lives.
Yeah, it'd be incredible.
It would.
But what are some of the challenges facing this type of research?
Well, biocompatibility is a major hurdle.
Okay.
We need to ensure that the body doesn't reject
Right.
these artificial kidneys.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's the issue of long-term functionality. Can we create a device
Yeah.
that can function effectively for years,
Right.
even decades,
Wow.
without needing to be replaced?
It sounds like there are still, many questions to answer,
There are.
but the possibilities are really exciting.
They are very exciting.
Are there any other promising areas of research you can tell us about?
Scientists are also exploring
yeah.
new ways to regenerate damaged kidney tissue, using things like stem cell therapies
Right.
or even gene editing techniques.
It's like we're on the verge of a revolution in kidney disease treatment.
I think so.
It's incredible to think about how far we've come
Yeah.
and how much potential there is for the future.
It is inspiring, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
And it reinforces the importance of ongoing research and support
Right.
for these innovative endeavors.
Absolutely. And it reminds us that even in the face of
Yeah.
such a complex and challenging condition
Right.
like kidney disease,
Uh-huh.
there's always hope.
Well said.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to thank you for sharing your expertise
Oh, you're welcome.
and shedding light on this fascinating
Yeah.
and often overlooked topic.
It is.
It's been an eye-opening journey,
It has.
to say the least.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to all our listeners out there,
Yeah.
we encourage you to continue learning and exploring.
Aye.
Knowledge is power. And the more we understand about our bodies
Yeah.
and the challenges we face,
Absolutely.
the better equipped we are to navigate them with courage and hope.
Beautifully said. Remember those tiny filters we call kidneys?
Right.
They play an enormous role
Yeah?
in keeping our bodies in balance.
Right.
Let's all do our part to
Yeah.
support research, raise awareness, and advocate for better treatments so that one day kidney disease will no longer cast a shadow
Right.
over
Yeah.
so many lives.
Well said. And on that note, this has been The Deep Dive. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.